Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining in today. My name is Lisa Dixon-Wells. I'm the founder of Dare to Care. I was a school counselor and saw that a lot of kids were reporting bullying types of behavior. And there really, back in the 90s, wasn't any sort of information for me. There weren't any resources for administrators, for counselors, for teachers. So I decided to create Dare to Care. It launched in 1999. And just this year, we have lifted and shifted our entire program for professional development or professional learning for staff, our parent component, and our K-6 modules. We've lifted and shifted that into an online program. So I wanted to spend a few minutes today just going over what the online program looks like, and obviously answer any questions you might have at the end. I'm going to break it into two parts. I first wanted to show you an overview of the different modules that are available, and then I'll talk about, as a school administrator, the different packages that you would like to buy. And at the end, also, just know that we are going to be listing some sample videos that will be in the description below. So you can look at any K-2 modules, grade 3 to 6 modules, some samples from the parent and the professional learning. So let's get into it. I just want to share a PowerPoint with you. So like I said, we decided that we wanted to lift and shift all of our all of our components of our in-learning program, the in-person learning program, to an online program that schools could facilitate themselves without the expense of flying Dare to Care facilitators out. It was really important while we were developing the online, the virtual modules, that we kept the integrity of the program, but we also kept the engagement up for the kids. So for K-2 and the grade 3 to 6 modules, all of the lessons are about 20 to 30 minutes long. And every module has an introduction by me, as well as some videos that sort of expand on that module, and then an activity to anchor the learning for that module. And I'll go over those modules in just a moment. The idea also for the classroom modules, the student modules, is to make it as easy as possible to flow through. So for classroom teachers, there's no added work or pre-work needed in order to run this program. We have done that all for you. So going through, I'll just give you an overview of the kindergarten, grade 1 and grade 2 modules. There are 6 learning modules, and as I've said, each one is 20 to 30 minutes long, depending on the dialogue, the conversation that is brought up during that time. Module 1 is just the introduction of the whole importance of being kind and bullying behavior versus buddy behavior. Module 2, over on this side, is some time spent talking about bullying versus mean moments. One of the things that we have found in Dare to Care, especially in the last 10 years or so, is that the word bullying has become so overused and misused, not only by students, but by adults, by parents, by coaches, etc., that for every grade, we have included a module on identifying the difference between when is it bullying and when is it just pure conflict. Module 3 was just added on discrimination, very age appropriate, grade appropriate dialogue around discrimination. Module 4 is more, the broken heart activity is talking about empathy, so introducing the concept of putting yourself in somebody else's shoes. Module 5, we have strong social sanctions against tattling. We tell kids all the time not to tattle, but they really have a difficult time differentiating between tattling and actually asking for help. So this module 5 is completely devoted to tattling versus asking for help. And then module 6 is how to stand up for yourself, how to use your voice, how to ask for help, but also how to step in if you witness bullying or if you are being targeted yourself. The grade 3 to 6, similar for the first 2 modules, but obviously more grade appropriate. Module 3, we talk more about the difference between the silent majority, which are also known as bystanders, and how to become a caring majority in the school. Module 4, again, very grade appropriate, and Module 5, expanding into cyberbullying. How to identify it, what to do, and how to self-monitor. Parents and adults can't be supervising 24/7 for students. So we felt it very important, starting in grade 3, they learn how to self-monitor. Module 6 is more of a looking at the imbalance of power, why bullying actually exists, and how we need to switch the imbalance of power away from the few who are doing the bullying behavior and into the hands of what we call the caring majority. Module 7 and Module 8 are teaching kids their tool belt of skills, what to do, how to handle bullying situations in a non-reactive way. For the parent webinars, we took our typical parent information night and broke it into 3 modules that parents can do all at once, or they can do, 1 per evening. The first module obviously is the longest one at 51 minutes, but it's really going over the whole scope of the problem, properly defining bullying, again, identifying the difference between bullying and normal peer conflict. Talking about the types of bullying and going into some tips for parents on that. Module 2, we felt very important to include, this is something I'm very passionate about, is our perfect targets, or our kids who are falling through the cracks. There are 2 sort of categories of children that we all need to have a little bit more empathy and understanding about. One are our provocative children. These are the kids who are often very, very bright, but are lacking in social skills, and they don't understand how their behavior is turning off others. They don't understand how they're presenting to others. We call them provocative children, and they are very often targets of bullying behavior. But also our easy to anger, explosive children, often due to trauma. They're often the most mistrusted kids in the school because of their explosive nature. And just because of that explosive nature, often they're labeled as bullies, but they really aren't. And we need to go into detail for that. Module 3 is tips for parents on what to do. What to do if your child comes home and says they're being targeted. What to do if the school calls and says your child is involved in bullying behavior. How to work with the school, and also going over that tool belt of skills that we're teaching grade 3 to 6 in the student learning modules. So going over that tool belt of skills so parents can reinforce those skills at home. For the professional development or professional learning for the staff, the first 2 modules are exactly the same as the parent modules. We did that on purpose because it was very important that the parent community in your school, as well as all of the staff, are speaking the same language, having the same information. There's no misinformation or misinterpretation. Really important, those first 2 modules are exactly the same. Module 3 is the practical portion of the professional development or professional learning modules. This is what to do. Now that we know what we know, how do we handle it in the classroom? How do we handle it? How do we create a systemic approach to bully prevention in our school? So these are the 4 different components to our online program: the K-2, the grade 3 to 6, the parent component, and the professional development. We've broken it into packages for schools to help you decide what's the best fit this year for your school. Package 1 obviously is the most cost effective. It includes the professional development modules, so those 3 modules I showed you, as well as a resource portal. That resource portal contains everything the school will need to move forward. Frequently asked questions, a resource guide that shows books and articles that are really pertinent for any grade, for parents, for social skills, for trauma-informed education, all the best sort of resources we brought together. The resource portal also contains downloadable posters, handouts, etc. So package 1 contains the professional development models. It modules. It contains the parent education modules, those same 3 modules I showed you, and all of the grade K to 6 modules. There's a total of 14 modules. For K to 2, there are 6 modules, and for grade 3 to 6, there are 8 learning modules for $900. You have it for the entire year. So the benefit of that being teachers can go back into these modules, or administrators go back into any of these modules when a situation arises. If a child is tattling all the time, they can go back. Kindergarten grade 1, 2 teacher can go back to that specific module. Package 2 is professional development modules, so the 3 modules in Resource Portal, and the K to 6 learning modules. Not all schools feel like they want to include parent. Having said that, however, including the parents in this systemic approach to bully prevention is absolutely critical. They are the eyes and the ears outside of school. So, but Package 2 offers it without the parent learning modules for $750, again, for the entire year. And Package 3 is just the grade K to 6 learning modules for $500, again, for the entire year. So I'm going to pop out of this right now and just sort of give you an example of if you were to purchase Package 1, Package 2, Package 3, you would receive a welcome email, and I would be providing your school with a school-specific access code for the entire year. This is my dashboard, but your teachers, you and your staff and your parents would all create their own dashboard that would have all of the modules that your school has purchased. And you can see in blue, it shows you where I am in those modules. Now, truthfully, I've been through these modules probably 50 times. So this is my latest run through. I'm 23% through on the grade 3 to 6, 7% through for K to 2, etc. Your staff would then go to, for grade 3 to 6, for example, when they are about to teach it, just stop this. This shows all of the different modules. This is the K to 2, sorry, the K to 2, all of the different modules that the staff would be working through. They can enlarge the screen so the kids aren't seeing the list of modules. And they just work through. It's as smooth as running through any online course, just from one module to the next. Our suggestion is classroom teachers do one module at a time. So whether they do one on a Monday and another on a Wednesday, or they do one a week, we just don't want them running through all of these modules. Like I said earlier, each of these modules is designed to be 20 to 30 minutes long. So, as I mentioned earlier, we will down below in the description have a link to samples of the K to 2, grade 3 to 6 parent modules, as well as professional development. But I'm just curious, are there any questions?
Thank you so much for sharing this. I do have a question.
Yes, Kate.
So how does your online program differ from the in-person program?
Great question. We worked very, very hard to keep, as I said, the integrity and the engagement level as high in the in-person as it is when we're out there in person, or sorry, for the virtual program as well as when we're in person. We didn't want to lose any of that engagement factor. So the benefit, one of the benefits is that in the online program, every single important component that we felt were the most important components for each grade, we've been able to expand out. We're not in a time limit that we've got, in a gym for 1 hour with kindergarten grade 1, 2. We were able to expand every single component out. Every module includes an introduction from myself, as well as animated videos to expand on that module concept, and also an activity to anchor the learning. That's something we can't do in the in-person where we've got one day in the gym and going through all the grades. Another benefit, as I've already mentioned, is you've got the license for an entire year. So you can revisit, classroom teachers can revisit, staff can revisit, parents can revisit as needed, but also you can include new staff and new families that are coming in throughout the year. They can get an access code and get caught up. So it really is a school-wide initiative. Another, I think, a benefit to it is that we are able to stay current with the modules. So when there's a new issue that's a societal issue, we can jump in and add a new module. For instance, last summer, with all the talk around racism and discrimination, we went in and added the K-2 and grade 3 to 6 module on racism and discrimination. So, and on that note, this summer, we are actually going to go in and divide our grade 3 to 6 modules into grade 3-4 modules and grade 5-6 modules, so we can become even more grade appropriate. And we're going to be adding grade 7 to 9 modules as well. Thanks, Faith.
I have a question, Ms. Lisa. What is the best way to roll out the online program in a school community?
Great question as well. And obviously, the beauty of the online program is schools can roll it out any way they want, but I would say it is by far the best way to do it is to have a plan of a rollout so that you don't have one grade doing it in October and another grade doing it in April. What a lot of schools are doing for the student component of it is they're selecting a month and saying sometime within that month, classroom teachers, you need to get through all of the modules. So they're giving it some leeway to the teachers to decide when they incorporate those classroom modules. Some schools are being even more specific and saying every Monday and Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock is Dare to Care time, where you'll be classroom teachers running through a module. So again, some coordination around when the staff unfold the learning modules in the classrooms is really important. For the parent modules, it seems like the best approach is a hybrid approach where parents are given the access code to go through the modules at their own pace, their own leisure. But there are some parents who want to be part of a group. So it could be a virtual parent session hosted by the administrator where they show all of the different modules and break in between each of the 3 modules to have some Q&A time. I think that's probably one of the most popular ways to do it, that sort of hybrid approach. The other option is just to send it out to all of your parents and hope that they watch it at some point during the year. For the professional development, most of the schools are reporting back that what they are doing is they're either doing one module after a staff meeting and then having discussion, and then the next staff meeting doing another module, or they're hosting in one of their professional learning, professional development days, they are going through the modules all together. I think that's the best approach. And my only thing for administrators to say with this is that if you are going to do it in a staff meeting or in a professional learning sort of environment with all the staff available, 2 things. One is go over the frequently asked questions that exist in your resource portal. That is a list of questions, most frequently asked questions over the 22 years of doing this program that have been asked by parents and or staff. So everything is there for you. And no doubt one of your staff members or one of your parents will ask one of those questions. So make sure you go over those questions first of all. And the other thing to keep in mind is when you're doing it in a staff meeting, rolling out these modules in a staff meeting or professional development day, typically your support staff are not part of those staff meetings and those professional development days. So please don't forget to send the access code out to all of your support staff. your bus drivers, your office staff, your volunteers. So again, it's an entire school approach to bully prevention. Yeah, so great question, Princess. Thank you.
Thank you. Also, another question for my teachers that serve the students, what is required by them as classroom teachers?
We work very hard to make this a, put it on this big screen, and teachers, there's no additional work for you either prior to showing the modules or afterwards. It is all self-contained. Your only job for the teachers is to be there to forward to the next lesson within the module, and that is it. There are occasions where you might need to pause in order to make sure that everybody's got a piece of paper for one of the classroom activities. But other than that, absolutely zero preparation required.
Got it. And where can we find samples of the modules?
Yes, so we are going to include samples from all of the K-2, grade 3 to 6, the parent and professional development modules down below in the description down below. So you can take your time looking through those different samples. And by all means, if any of you ever have any questions over and above what I've presented here, or about our in-person program, anything to do with Dare to Care, please don't hesitate to contact me at Lisa, L-I-S-A, at daretocare.ca. Thank you so much for joining us today.